came in #1? Was there any surprise? Any? Cue title scene! Here we are again every Monday, like always. I read off the numbers. I give some witty commentary. I say some inappropriate things here on the sidebar. What changes? The numbers are always predictable. The #1 film tends to go down its place. You know, the new movie comes in big. Typically everything's where you expect it to be. I don't really follow tracking, but come on. We all know Thor was going to be #1. We all know Gravity's going out. And I know the big thing people are talking about is that the Oscar bait movies like 12 Years a Slave, and actually I think that's about it all people are really talking about right now, has actually gone more than Captain Phillips in revenue. Those aren't the top 6, so who cares? That kind of makes sense. We're getting closer to Oscar season, closer to the holidays, more people are taking interest in movies like that, so that all makes sense. But again, it's just so boring. Every week the same thing, just watching his movies go down a spot each week, unless you're We're the Millers. Seriously, how did that film last so long? But let's get to it. #6, Gravity, 8.5 million, whatever. I think we all knew it wasn't time that film get to the bottom. Followed by Las Vegas. What the? No. No. No, what is this? This makes no sense. This defies logic. This can't be happening. Ender's Game, a movie that came out last week, a film which has really a lot of good reviews, a movie everyone liked, only made 10.2 million. I know that sounds like a lot of money to normal people, but when you consider what beat it out, Las Vegas, 11 million, Freebirds, 11.1 million, Jackass, 11.3 million, and finally Thor at 85 million. How is this happening? Ah! No. I don't understand. How is this happening? Seriously, Ender's Game is a great movie. Not perfect, not as sexy as Chris Hemsworth rock hard abs, but really good. How does it drop this way? Everyone I know who saw it loved it. This isn't like a Pacific Rim situation where it was marketed badly. It was marketed just fine. Everyone loved it, and they tell their friends to go see it. And I mean, obviously the film's made decent profit at this point, but how does it go down this much? How does it drop 3 places from when compared to films, 2 of which are complete crap? How? How? Oh yeah, that's my job to answer. Okay, Gravity, totally understandable. But how did this happen? I mean, the film, like I just said all the positive stuff, it's so crazy I can't even remember what I just said. Maybe I should start writing a script for this. But, how could this have happened? Well, looking at it logically, as we get closer to the holidays, all joking aside, you start getting a bigger jump in movies. And a big thing now is that as the film gets more popular with Ender's Game, and so many people did go see it and tell other people, sometimes people look into it and maybe they get turned off by the author's things, or it's another option. Anyone who went to see Thor and got sold out, maybe they got more curious about these other films. Ender's Game really blocked out Las Vegas and Freebirds. So, when people went to the movies to see Thor and found it was not playing or sold out, they had to find other options. And when you consider many kids went to go see this movie, it became what seemed more attractive, Freebirds or Las Vegas. Many of you might be thinking, well, why not still Ender's Game? Well, to understand that, also don't forget, the people who saw Ender's Game have been waiting for this film for a long time. In fact, the first attempt at making Ender's Game was 10 years ago with frickin' Jake Lloyd. So, in a lot of ways, much of the age demographic for this film has kind of grown out, and those who saw it last week. When you consider something like a Freebirds or a Las Vegas, well, and even at that, we're getting to that point of the year where these littler films start to get a bit more well-known. We're getting, not that Las Vegas or Freebirds are Oscar contenders, but in reality, they kind of get more recognition. Honestly, putting all these big, exciting, explosive movies this part of the year, it has its advantages and its disadvantages. In the case of Thor, there was no way releasing it in the summer was a good idea. It was going to get swallowed up between Man of Steel and Elysium and Star Trek. Then again, from Disney's perspective, they can't have their movies competing against each other at the same time. Even though I have a feeling more people came out of Thor happy than Iron Man 3, realistically, you can't put Thor up against a huge juggernaut. For the people who made Thor, this was a huge numbers weekend, big advantage, all that. So for Thor, putting it here makes sense. You spread Marvel out, you can get it at different points during the year, hit different crowds. This is why Star Wars will be in Christmas next year, 2 years from now, instead of the summer. But, in the case of Ender's Game, why release it so late? Well, once again, it would get swallowed up by the films I just mentioned, and realistically, some others. Asa Butterfield is good in the movie, but he doesn't have that movie star charisma that, say, Robert Downey Jr. has, or he doesn't have that real name draw that, like, Brad Pitt has, nor is the book and movie really as attractive sounding as a Superman movie. So in reality, they were kind of stuck. Either release it at the beginning of the year, which it wasn't done yet, or release it at the end of the year and take your picks. Realistically, everyone who saw Ender's Game saw it already. And for those of people who already saw it, they were ready for Thor or something new. And when they saw it, and they saw they couldn't get into Thor, the other things just became a logical decision. Also, again, Veterans Day weekend, the kids are off today. You know, what's a nice family activity to do? Dinner and a movie. Let's take the kids to go see the turkey movie. Because, you know, that's not going to be a pain in the ass explaining at Thanksgiving. And from there, Ender's Game wrote itself off. Like I said, film made good profit. Harrison Ford is relevant again. We're fine. But it is disappointing. And again, I didn't mention Bad Grandpa. Bad Grandpa's kind of taken on a life of its own. Everyone needs a dumb comedy now and then. And this is, out of all of these, the only solid comedy out right now. Unless you count half of Thor 2, which I did. But, yeah. When all's said and done, Ender's Game did nothing wrong. Everything else just did everything right. So, go figure. Yeah, question below. What did you think of just doing the video this style, not going into the other ones, kind of lumping it all into one discussion? Yeah, tell me what you would, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me, if I said the right thing, if I said the wrong things. And subscribe below, because I have some other things I'd like to rant about this week. And don't worry, I know how to rant.